Hello, everybody. How are we doing? How was the tournament? How does it feel? How have you all been? Who's done here? Anybody that is done, you can just react or you can give a comment to the comment section. If you are done, so before I start checking for who our winners are, Victor, welcome once again. Oh, you're done already. Victor was our money titan for 2024. Victor was our money titan for 2024. Our money titan is the most financially literate person on the planet. So Victor was the most financially literate person for on the planet in 2024. So I'm going to share my screen again and going to see who is going on or who is the most financially literate person in the Zedcrest World Club. Okay, tournament is not yet done. Okay, it should be done. Now time is 3:37. Let's take a look at who our winners are. Okay. Congratulations to Victor, Starlink, and Adi. Those are our winners for today's Digital World Club tournament session. So congratulations once again. Please check through your application in between today or tomorrow to get you will receive your voucher. So thank you very much, everybody, once again. Yemi is going to come back in right now to give us the tips for 2025. I think this is the most important time for the World Club meet, just for us to pay attention. It's going to give us some great financial advice based on the stats and research for 2025. Good luck. It was nice meeting everybody. Let's have a nice day ahead.
Hello and welcome back. So I'm sure you enjoyed the tournament questions, and I'm sure they are not very difficult for you. We encourage you to continue to practice these questions on the Zedcrest Wealth application, and it will help you to understand finance better and help you manage your finance properly. So going ahead, I'll be giving an outlook for what we expect in Q1 2025. And then with this outlook, I would also be giving sort of like an investment recommendation as to how to properly position yourself in the markets in the first quarter of this year. So a top line event in terms of our outlook for 2025 is declining inflation. So as you saw in our previous slides where we spoke about the fact that in 2024, we saw inflation to go to high levels due to different policies that were implemented during the year. But this time in 2025, it's a bit of a good news as we expect declining inflation in the first quarters of the year. So basically what this means is that, declining inflation doesn't necessarily mean that the prices of commodities will begin to fall. So what we just see is that the rate at which the price of these commodities will go up will just be a bit less. So, declining inflation means that, so let's say, for instance, in 2024, at the beginning of 2024, the price of the commodity was 100 naira, but at the end of the year, the price of the commodity is then 120 naira. So, that means that the commodity has grown by 20%. But if we come into 2025, we expect that the commodity will then grow at a lower pace as compared to the 20% that it grew by in 2024. So that's our expectation. And some of the things that support our view for a declining inflation in 2025 is the high base effect. So the high base effect basically means that, year 2024, because inflation measures a year-on-year growth in price level. So because in year 2024, we had high inflation in year 2024, what this means is that for 2025, the denominator figure is relatively high. And as a result of that, we expect the inflation figures to begin to go down. In addition to that also, the National Bureau of Statistics, which is the statistical arm of the federal government of Nigeria, the National Bureau of Statistics has introduced a rebasing exercise. So this exercise comes in every 5 years. And then what they do basically is that for the base year, that's the year through which they are comparing every year's inflation figures or price level. That particular year, they are readjusting that year. So for year 2025, the new base year that would be seen for inflation now would be 2024, which is last year. I mean, and if you look at it, last year, there were a lot of structural reforms and the likes. So we saw all that affect the markets. And then those we saw that affect the markets, and the prices of commodities were relatively high during that period. So with the rebasing effect taking 2024 as the base year, it means that in 2025 we expect inflation. I mean, in the first quarters of 2025, we expect inflation to begin to go down. In addition to that, I mean, when we see inflation begin to moderate, the next step is that the Central Bank of Nigeria will begin to relax its monetary rates. So, I mean, what we expect is that we expect a less hawkish CBN. So when we say hawkish, it means that a CBN that is ready to increase interest rates at any point in time or tighten the monetary system. But in this case, we expect a less hawkish CBN. So it means that, I mean, the CBN will just kind of at the first monetary policy committee meeting this year, which is coming up sometimes in February, we expect that the CBN would hold interest rate constant while trying to give a bit of relief in terms of other instruments that the government that the CBN uses to control the economy in terms of monetary parts. In addition to that, also, I mean, in Q1 2025, we also expect a relatively stable exchange rate system. So what we expect is that the exchange rates in the first quarter of the year will remain relatively stable. That means that it will stay at the current levels. And then our expectation for this is primarily driven by one, the recently implemented CBN's exchange rate monitoring system, which we spoke about when we're talking about the major highlights in 2024, as well as interventions of the CBN. We've seen situations whereby the CBN has sold dollars to banks and to BDCs at some points in time. Also, in addition to this, I mean, prior to now, we've seen the government spend significant amounts in terms of US dollars importing PMS into the country. But for year 2025, we do not expect much of that because of the introduction of refineries in the economy. So, I mean, the entire stock of dollars that we're used to import those products would then not be used for that purpose, and then we have more flow in the economy. So that's why we expect a relatively stable exchange rate in Q1 2025. In addition to that, also, we expect the equity market to rally. I mean, when we see exchange rates remain stable and then we see a less hawkish CBN, it means that interest rates are pointing to a downward direction. So it just means that, I mean, the equity markets, I mean, companies will find it easier to borrow funds and do any of their operations. So we expect like a rally in equity markets. I mean, if companies are able to get funds at cheaper rates, they are able to invest in their business and improve their profitability. And as a result of that, we expect investors to predict this and then buy into the markets. So that's why we expect equity market rally in the first quarter of 2025. In addition to that, for fixed income yields, we expect it to remain slightly elevated, although it's currently pointing towards a downward trend, but it would still remain at the high levels where we have instruments yielding as high as 26, 27, 28%. So basically, those are the major outlooks for Q1 2025. For the fixed income yields, I mean, the major driver or the major thing that we see as the major thing that would support that position is the increased supply. So sometimes last year we saw the Debt Management Office, which is kind of like the treasurer of the federal government and helps them to manage their debt levels. So the Debt Management Office issued a significant amount of treasury bills and bond instruments in trillions. So, I mean, in this year, they would have to roll over those investments and those borrowings. So we expect the rates to remain relatively high for those auctions. Going to the global scene, so for the global environment, we expect a recovery in terms of economic growth across different global economies. So, I mean, for the likes of in the USA, as well as the Euro area as well as China, we expect recovery in terms of economic growth. Sometimes last week, we saw news about how China was able to attain its economic growth target for year 2024, and we expect more of that in year 2025, given that there's pointers to less geopolitical tensions, as well as improvements in terms of exchange rates and interest rates in different economies. So we expect more growth in those particular economies. In addition to that, also, I mean, we expect a less hawkish or like a cautious stand from the US Fed and the European Central Bank. So given the current resurgence of inflation in those particular economy, I mean, we've seen expectations that inflation or forecasts that inflation in those particular economy are currently ticking upward. So as a result of that, we expect the US Fed and the European Central Bank to still adopt a wait and see approach, and with less interest rates cuts in this quarter. For the year, for the central bank, that's the US Fed, we expect them to cut their interest rate by just maybe 2 times, but it's going to be far later in the year. Also in the equity space, that's the global equity space, we expect the equity market to rally. So by equity markets rallying, basically we expect that there will be positive interest in that market. And this is basically supported by earnings reports that we expect in this Q1. Sometimes last year we saw different central banks across the globe deliver interest rate cuts, and then that helped some of the businesses in those economies to get lesser funds, and we expect that will even improve their profitability during the quarter. So when they are releasing their results, we expect a rally in those markets. We've seen recently how Netflix reports a few days ago was able to contribute to a rally in the markets. So going to the most important part of this presentation, which is how do you get value from this? So if you are still with me, can you just give a thumbs up, or I mean, just drop a comment or something so I can be sure that you're following. So can you give a thumbs up? Okay, great. All right. Okay, so now the opportunities that are there for you in the market now, and how you can get value from the recent happenings and our forecast for the markets in the year 2025. A top investment opportunity in year 2025 is investments in fixed income instruments like treasury bills and bonds. I mean, it's very important given our outlook for inflation, a moderation in inflation during this period. That means that we expect that the yields on this instrument would likely go down towards the end of the year. So it's a good time for you to buy into this instrument at very high yields. Currently, treasury bills yields as high as 28%, and then for bonds, we have some bonds that yield as high as 21%. So I mean, it's a great investment opportunity for you to key into during this period. In addition to that, also, I mean, the stock market. So the Nigerian stock market last year returned about 37%. That means that if you just picked random stocks on the exchange and then you invested in them, you will be able to get return as high as 37% last year. I mean, now in the house, for us at Zedcrest, we have a team known as the Zedcrest Research. We publish articles and reports about stocks. So if you would like to also be part of the mailing list to receive those reports, you can also drop a comment. We also have a stock pick report for this year, which we believe are stocks that will perform very well in the market this year. You can also key into that report and then read it and position yourself in some of those stocks. Despite our outlook for a relatively stable exchange rate in year 2025. We also advise that you take a little bit of exposure in dollar-denominated assets. So we saw how the Nasdaq returned significant value in the year 2024, as well as the S&P index. So you can pick companies like Tesla, and then a whole lot of global stocks companies. And then, I mean, with those companies, you should be able to get returns, and then significant returns in that market in terms of your dollar-denominated investments. Also, we have target savings plans. So sometimes you might want to achieve a goal, and then in the course of you achieving that goal, you are struggling to save to achieve that goal. So on the Zedcrest Wealth app, you can also pick in terms of like a target saving plan, whereby you just have, maybe you want to pay your rent later in the year, you can have a target towards that, and then you should do that if you have any plan towards achieving a particular goal. You can also key into our target savings plan. Lastly, at Zedcrest, we have a group of experienced investment managers and portfolio managers. So you can also speak to every one of us. You can speak to our representatives, our wealth managers, to get ideas on how you can actually get the best returns in the market. And then you can also have a personal portfolio, which means that you have exposures to treasury bills, stocks, global stocks, domestic stocks, and the likes. And then you can also get the best return in the market this year. So with this, I would like to entertain your questions. So if you have any questions regarding this, so you can just use the comment section. Please, I'd like to entertain your questions. Thank you. So if you have any question, please, use the comment section. You can type in your questions. Okay, to gain access to the newsletter, you can indicate your interest in the comment section. We'll reach out to you and get your email address and then add you to the list. Yes, commercial papers are available. So, commercial papers are discounted investments that okay, great. Thank you for your questions. I'll attend to them. So commercial papers are discounted instruments issued by corporate organizations in Nigeria. Yes, they are available. From time to time, when we have commercial papers offer in the market, we would also send that to our respective clients. So, Kazim, you can also indicate your email address to also get these investments. Are there investment options that are Sharia compliant? So at the moment, now we are currently do not have that investment product, but we have that in stock, and it's one of the investment products that we'll be introducing in 2025. So just stay tuned and stay with us while we give you the best investment products. How about withdrawal tenures? Sorry, please, Francis, please, if you'd like to rephrase your question. Thank you. Okay, you mentioned sharing recommendation for stocks for the year. Is this limited to only Nigerian stocks? Yeah, so at the moment, we have coverage on Nigerian stocks. We have currently we are covering about 12 Nigerian stocks, and then we intend to expand to other stocks. So currently, our recommendations, and that's what we have in our stock pick reports. It's basically domestic stocks, which are Nigerian stocks. You can also speak to a wealth manager or an individual from our team if you need specific details about global stocks that you want to key into. And then we also have a team which is known as the Zedcrest Global Markets, which can also help you execute this transaction, giving you the best entry points into the markets and helping positioning you for the best kind of return in the markets. I hope that answers your question, Otobo. Okay, so for withdrawal, sorry, I'm not still getting your question, Francis. Guideline to reduce risks. Yes, so Ram saying yes, there is a proper guideline to introduce risks, and that's one of the reasons why we have the money market fund. So our money market fund is the safest form of investment that you can have at the moment. It gives you high return. Currently, we have a yield of about 23% on the money market fund. It gives you the best and high return. So I mean, for you to edge against possible risk, for you to hedge against possible risk, you can as well invest in the money market fund for now. And then as time goes on, when you get proper knowledge about the market,
So how was
you can
yesterday?
then go.
Just drawing my data.
When you get proper knowledge about the market, you can then, invest in other markets. You can then look at, investing in other equities markets, global markets, and the likes. Okay, how soon can one withdraw a deposit? So, you can set your deposit dates and you can set your withdrawal dates. So, you can set your withdrawal date, and if you need to withdraw before that date, you can also indicate by doing that, although there might be a fee for that. But, the withdrawal dates are very flexible on the Zedcrest Wealth application. So currently, there are no mandatory time frames. Okay, so the difference between yield and discount rates. So it's a very simple difference. So I'll use an example to differentiate this. So let's say an issuer, Zedcrest is an issuer of commercial papers, for instance, and Zedcrest is issuing commercial papers at 20% discount rates. So what this means is that for individuals that want to invest in that commercial papers, if you're investing a face value of 100 naira, for instance, you'll be required to pay 20% less of that money. So you'll be paying about 80 naira today, and then in future you'll be earning 100 naira. So on that transaction, what you have gotten in terms of your return is that 20 naira. That's the upfront interest that you receive. So the discount rate in that state is 20% because you are paying for a face value of 100 naira, but you are paying 80 naira today to receive 100 naira in future. The yield in this case is the return on your investments. So the yield is like saying your return on investments, your return in this case is the 20 naira, and the amount you are investing, the actual investment amount is 80 naira. So your yield in this case is the 20 naira over 80 naira. That's about 25%. So that's the difference between the discount rate and the yield. So the discount rate in my example was 20%, and the yield in my example was 25%. Kazim, does that answer your question? Francis, you can engage our team. So, we have a couple of investment products. So, I might not be sure of the exact investment products that you're talking about in terms of the charges. So, you can engage any of our team members. You can drop your email address, and then we just try to contact you. So, do we have any other questions? Do you have questions, inquiries? Do you have questions, inquiries based on our outlook and the out position in the market? All right, so given that we don't have any further questions, can I see your thumbs up if you got value from today's session? Can you just give a thumbs up, or you put it in the comment section, I got value, or just type value in the comment section. Just give a thumbs up, type value in the comment section, so we can be sure that this session actually provided value for you. All right, I can see your hands, Ngozi. Great. You can keep it coming in. You can keep it coming in. Okay, so just to add, I mean, your question, so we had a question about Sharia compliant, Sharia compliant investment options. So I mean, one of a very viable Sharia compliant investment option is Sukuk bond. I mean, Sukuk bonds are bonds that are given, they are green bonds from the federal government. We have the capability to also purchase that on your behalf. I mean, we have access to the market, and we can also purchase Sukuk bonds on your behalf. Prior to when we have a Islamic compliance funds that you can also invest in. So I mean, we encourage you to, I mean, just come in. You can come in and purchase Sukuk bond and the likes. It would help you to get high returns. I mean, currently Sukuk bonds are giving returns as high as 18 to 20%. So I mean, that's a good investment opportunity for you also. All right, we also encourage you to sign up on the link provided in the comment section so you can get our research reports and be informed on how to make quality investment decisions. So you can go to the comment section, click on that link, sign up, and then we add you to the mailing list so you can receive our investment research reports.
All right. Thank you very much for the presentation, Yemi. In the absence of no other question, okay, I see. Olamide. Okay, good afternoon, Olamide. Apologies. Sorry, I'm sorry. Okay. We always record the meeting and to be uploaded on YouTube, but a link will also be shared on our social media for you to catch up on everything we discussed during the meetup. You can catch up on YouTube and also check our social media to link you to YouTube to watch the video for anything you might have missed. In the absence of no other question, I'd like to thank everybody for taking out their time to join us today. It was a very engaging and insightful session. We just like connecting and helping everybody understand the little tiny bits of finance and to make the year great for everybody. So there are great things financially for each and everybody here. And okay, sorry, there's another question. How does the interest rate work on Sukuk bonds? Adeyemi, can you please take that real quick? Uh, David, can you give us a second while Adeyemi comes back to tell us about Sukuk bonds?
Okay, hello. I mean,
Oh yes, you were muted, Yemi. Can you please on your put on your camera again?
okay,
You're
okay,
speaking and you're muted.
all right. So for Sukuk bond, given the nature of the kind of transaction, understanding that they are religious compliance. So one of the ways that these bonds are issued is some of them are issued at a discount. They are discounted in a way such that when you are getting back the funds, you are getting them in full value. So that's how it works. Does that answer your question, David? Okay.
Okay, I think that
All right.
does answer David's question. So once again, I would like to thank everybody for joining us. And while we're preparing for quarter two, even though we're going to obviously tell you the financial opportunities for each and everybody in quarter two of 2025, I would like us to give us feedback on any topic you'd like us to focus on in our next World Club Club. The link has been shared by my team member Joshua. In any other feedback you'd like to give us, or any other topic you'd like us to focus on in our next meeting or in our next World Club meetup, we really appreciate the feedback and we really like to speak to each and every one of you once again. So thank you everybody. This was a very insightful session. Thank you everybody for joining us, and we hope to see you invest or save with the best investment app on the planet, which is Zedcrest Wealth. And we hope to see by this time next year, each and every one of us are on the right path to creating wealth for our families and our friends and we ourselves. So thank you very much, everybody. Let's do have a nice day ahead. Thank you, everybody.